12 men and women, two groups singing and dancing about love. It's a swingers party? Nah, it is an epic pop-off between two of the UK's co-ed groups, S Club 7 and Steps.
That's right.
Wow.
That's Chantel.
That's Chris.
And we are CCTV, the nonstop pop show. And we're so excited because for this very special pop-off, we are joined by Craig and Maddie of Can't Stop the Pop. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Wow, what an introduction. I was like, are you describing us or no? No? Okay, fine.
The thing is, I was going to say that's a bit more racy than what we usually do as intros, but there's quite a lot of entendre, double entendre in our TikToks and our podcasts. What was it? You said once, Craig, when you were talking about Bewitched roller coaster, you said, Matty, you look like the right height to ride. And that,
Ooh.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've said stuff like that before. Thank you for having us. We're so excited to get back into part 2.
Yes,
That's
welcome
right.
to the show.
So, part 1 of this epic pop-off is over at Can't Stop the Pop. So definitely go check out their channel, available on all podcast platforms for that, because we are starting here with round 6. So, as a reminder, we're pitting Steps versus S Club 7, single versus single chronologically, and we're seeing who wins, and we will make a case for our choices. So let's keep it going.
Yes.
What is round 6?
Okay, so round 6 is Better Best Forgotten versus Natural. And fans of Rachel Stevens are not going to be happy with this one because no one voted for Natural.
Wow.
4-0 to Better Best Forgotten. Explain
I'm actually
yourself.
surprised. I'm actually surprised by that because I know Rachel is arguably the most popular, maybe not even arguably, she is the most popular member of S Club.
Facts.
So I just assumed that most would kind of just vote for this since this is kind of her song. So I'm surprised, but kind of happy about it.
I think with Natural is a nice song. It's got a nice classical music sample. I saw Rachel, my hoopla. I don't know if either of you guys were there, and she did Natural, but it just doesn't go off. It doesn't really do much as a song. It's kind of like, we're gonna give Rachel the sexy song because she was the sexy one, and she said a lot about that recently in the press about how she was very much pushed into that. But Better Best Forgotten is, from the noveltiness of Tragedy and the balladness of Heartbeat, this followed the trend that they were on of Lasting on My Mind, One for Sorrow, of that stock Aikman and Waterman sound. And it's just a brilliant song. That whoa, 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 whoa hook, you just don't get much better than that in a pop song, I don't think.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's weird because they hate it. Well, they did. Seps hate Better Best Forgotten because they said that their voices were tuned up. And they do. I mean, the vocals are crazy at points. They sound like chipmunks. But yeah, I just think that the single remix, it wasn't massively different, but it just gave it, at least it got a new ad-lib. She got a little Better Best Forgotten.
Best Forgotten.
Like made all the difference. And yeah, I mean, I would say about Natural, I think have I mentioned this on the podcast before, Matty? I'm sorry if I have, but I didn't recognize the sample in Natural. I didn't know it was a sample. And then I was watching a few years later, I was watching Sex and the City, and they play that same sample. And I was like, why are they putting Natural from S Club into Sex and the City? Then I learned it was a sample. I mean, I think Natural's it's really inventive, it's really creative, but I'll never really forgive them for not using the extra in the music video. Rachel had extra ad-libs at the end. I'm all about the ad-libs in this episode. She had extra ad-libs. They didn't even include them in the single. Like, what's the point in that? If you're going to put them in the video, put them in the song.
Yeah.
So, Better Best Forgotten.
Yeah, I mean, Natural isn't bad. Like the harpsichord and the drums are funky. It was different for the group considering what they kind of came out with. The dancing on the beach and then the waterfall, it was giving for the video. It was giving Survivor like showmance visually. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. Better Best Forgotten though is more solid and it's catchy, and the hook is there, and there's drama. In the instrumental, that is more obvious to me. The video was really funny because it's just strangeness going on, which lets me know that they're not taking themselves too seriously. The baby blue outfits are iconic. And just as a very petty, all shade, all tea, dip the shade in the tea, if it makes you feel better, when Claire, Faye, and Lisa sing this song, they don't lip sync it. So for me, that kind of what also sells it. Because even now, Rachel could totally sing it, but she doesn't, and she keeps lip syncing it, and it bothers the crap out of me because I'm like, you can sing it. So Better Best Forgotten, I think it's a better song. And when I hear it live, I'm hearing the girls vocally just perform. So that also pushes it for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I had kind of the same notes about Natural. I think it was nice to hear something, I guess, slightly more mature for S Club, a bit more sexy for them. But melodically, it's not that great. Like, even when we saw it at the concert, no one really responded to it at all. It was kind of a bit of a rock in that set list. But Better Best Forgotten, I think, melodically is actually really beautiful. I think it almost feels like it was written as a ballad or a mid-tempo, and then they sped it up and put this dance beat behind it. And I think they actually did perform it as a ballad, right, on like one of their tours years ago. And it was like really, really beautiful. So didn't they do it at like the Christmas show or something?
Oh, it might have been a Christmas show.
Yeah.
Yes, they did it at Steps and the Christmas shows they did. That's an interesting thing that you just said there, because I do have a theory that they're about to launch their musical, and the tagline of it is take a chance on a happy ending. Ooh. And I have this theory that it might be a ballad version of it at some point, because it could be quite, poignant, and it's a beautifully written and constructed pop song that's then given this Eurodance beat, big anthemic chorus. Like, it's great. I don't think this was a question.
Okay.
It was a Steps mic drop.
Okay, well, if it is a ballad in the musical, we'll have a nice little slice of royalties for giving them that idea. Thank you.
Hey.
We'll speak to Sean.
Okay, so round 7, choices have been made. So we've got 2 very different songs. We've got Love's Got a Hold on My Heart versus Never Had a Dream Come True.
Ooh.
And 3 people picked Love's Got a Hold on My Heart. Only 1 person picked Never Had a Dream Come True.
Wow.
Who has Never Had a Dream Come True?
Chantal.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, Chantal. Okay, right, okay.
Okay. Listen, it was tough for me because these songs provide 2 different...
It's
being
just
bullied.
No, but it's the way that it's the weight of it. It was like, guys, it was tough for me. Like,
It
honestly,
was.
No, it was.
really...
It was hard. It was not. It was hard for two reasons. Because they have different feelings. The songs have different vibes. Like, obviously, one is like, oh my gosh, it's a pure love, and Love's Got a Hold of My Heart is just, I want that badly for my own life. That sweet pureness. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could feel this way. That's lovely, and the yellow, and the dancing, and the Claire's hat, and her voice, obviously. And then you have Dream Come True. The hat was iconic. And it's touching. It's actually one of my faves from the group. And it has like the opposite aesthetic of like the ice and the frost in the music video. And I just remember it so vividly as a young person. And my friend was with me yesterday when I was listening to both songs. And she's like, she was singing Love's Got a Hold on My Heart. She was like, okay, all right. But then when Never Had a Dream Come True, she was singing. She was like, why do I know this song? Why do I know this freaking song? What is going on? And I was like, you know what? It's true. I do like Love's Got a Hold of My Heart, but Never Had a Dream Come True for what it was, for them trying to be mature and be, I guess, emotive. The song is effective. And I was like, you know what? I truly hate this episode right now, but I had to make a hard decision. And my hard decision was choosing Dream Come True. I feel like it's a sweet song. It wasn't too mature for what they were coming from. And it's better than Natural. I'm saying it right now. But yeah, after that bridge, they pick it up a little bit of like, it's a half note, whatever, but it kind of is a mild key change. Like there is emotion and catharsis in this song that I feel that Love's Got a Hold doesn't really give me. It's just constant, just like, yeah, we're happy, yes, da 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 da. But then Never Had a Dream Come True has the ebbs and flows that I would prefer in a song like this one. So yeah, that's why I chose it. Proudly.
Okay, so also for
Hmm.
context, Never Had a
Yeah.
Dream Come True is their biggest hit in the US.
Yes.
It did hit the top 10 on the Billboard
Yeah.
Hot 100. So
Yeah.
actually, a lot of people do know that song
Mm-hmm.
here, which is interesting. And they know it more, I think, than S Club Party and some of the other
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
And it sounds like R&B too, so that's probably why we
Yeah,
like it a
that's
lot
true.
too. Yeah.
Yes. I definitely have a very soft spot. I mentioned in the last episode that I moved to Hong Kong summer 99, and that's when this song was released. And so this is the first Step song that I had heard. And I actually remember sitting on a couch and like seeing this music video for the first time, actually, and going straight out and buying Step 1, which this wasn't even on. But the CD single wasn't even out at that point. So yeah, I naturally have a very soft spot for Love's Got a Hold of My Heart. But even just objectively, I love the structure of it. I think it has such a great build and drama to it. I think Faye and Claire, I think this may be one of their like best vocal moments in the discography. They both sound amazing in it. And they can pull it off live. And of course,
Yes.
Lisa's whispering
Yeah.
is
There's
pretty
no
iconic.
escape.
There's no
Yes.
escape.
SOS.
There's SOS.
This song would
It's
not
just
be
so
half as
good.
epic without that.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I actually love this song, even objectively. I think it's just a great pop song.
I think Love's Got a Hold on My Heart is the reason they're so different. They're two very different songs. Love's Got a Hold on for me is it encapsulates what people thought Steps were. And, you know, a lot of people perhaps now understand them a bit better. At the time, it's like, oh, Steps, they're just happy and jolly. And that is what Love's Got a Hold on My Heart is. It's one of the happiest, sunniest, it just makes me grin from ear to ear whenever I hear it. It's I feel like the summer. I love the music. The music video is probably my favorite as well. Just I like the idea, the Steps, the movie, the has them chasing around and they're dancing on the pier, and who hasn't wanted to dance on a pier between Love's Not Having a Heart and Sometimes by Britney Spears. I could I wanted to be dancing on a pier as a kid. So it just, yeah, I just love it for what it is. And I think Never Had a Dream Come True. I think I probably prefer Have You Ever as their big wintry Christmassy ballads. I probably prefer Have You Ever, which uses the same formula. So yeah, that's me.
I'm gonna say something that's a little bit controversial.
Mm.
I think Never Had a Dream Come True is a really overrated song. I think, and this is not hating on it because it was a massive hit here as well. It's a beautiful song. I think it's a bit of a dirge and it's a bit boring. It sort of it trudges along. It doesn't move me as a ballad in the way that some of the other S Club ballads did. You just mentioned Have You Ever. Have You Ever is amazing. Have You Ever is a great song, and I feel like we'll talk about that later. But I feel like that takes the formula of Never Had a Dream Come True, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, was this Children in Need in the UK
I know,
2 years in a
yes.
row?
So yeah, so they did Children in Need. So what you're saying is they released this song and it was dreadful, but it raised loads of money for charity.
No, but
So-
but then they did it again the next year, and it was
Yeah.
basically their sort of like dual songs that they did. But Love's Got a Hole in My Heart. It's that thing of like it encapsulated album number 2, you know, Steptacular right there. Like this was the defining song of that record, to be just like, this is who we are. We are happy and sunny. But as you said, Chris, the lyrics and the verses, it's so drama. It's like high camp. Like the way that it's constructed with the da da da, like all of the melody of it, and then it builds to Claire absolutely belting that chorus. It's one of the best moments live, and yeah, it just encapsulates everything that Steps kind of are. I love it. Sorry,
Okay.
Chantel. I feel
It's
like
okay.
I feel like it's like Craig said to me before we started. He was like, "You and Chantel are gonna argue, and you are gonna
No.
clash." He's like, "This is gonna be like the SAS brigade of me trying to like."
Mm.
Oh no, not at all. I'm
Yeah.
sassy,
No,
but
I
I'm not
know.
argumentative. So luckily, yeah, he
Lovely
knows.
vocals.
Yeah.
Lovely vocals, Joe. But Claire was wearing a cowboy hat, so it
You know,
was.
yeah, you're
I'm-
right. You're right. The cowboy hat.
And the fake pigtails too.
Yes, the
The
weave.
yeah, there we go. The fake.
on it.
Honestly, Claire in that
So good.
video.
Just so
And
good.
I would, and also like you've got the promo image, Craig, on your mood board behind you. But like,
Oh, I do. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you
I
do
do.
it.
Yeah.
So it was just everything about that of like we're gonna put them
Oh
in
God, yeah.
canary yellow, and it shouldn't work.
Mhm.
But yeah, it just looks so good on camera
Mhm.
when they've got that sort of like behind the beautiful
blue and the whites, yeah.
scenery behind them.
Mhm.
It's great. I love it.
I'd just like to say, as a very overweight child, I owned one of these canary yellow outfits, t-shirt and shorts. I used to wear it with pride as a very overweight child, but
Oh, so cute.
because of this single. There we
So
go.
cute.
The impact, we love it.
Listen, I hear your points. I hear your points.
Are you still? You said nothing's shifting, nothing's changing. We're not getting a change of vote.
You know what? I am willing to change my vote because one of my votes leads into what you guys were mentioning earlier. So I'm still gonna win later on. So it's okay.
Oh, okay. We're fighting talk. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, so I'm willing to shift. Okay. I can give the honest, this is a better song. I can give the honest that. Yeah. I can give that.
There we go.
Wow.
I'll yield. Yeah. Ballot.
Great.
Oh Lord. Okay, so next round. So I think this is where it starts getting interesting because at this point, S Club are going off in all directions with their albums, whereas Steps are just ploughing on with their second albums. So we are getting to the point now
Yes.
where things
Yeah.
really start to get a little bit at different phases of their careers. So we've got After the Love Has Gone with its slightly problematic music video and Don't Stop Moving.
Mm.
And again, it was 3-1 in favor of Don't Stop Moving.
Hang on.
One person likes After the Love Has Gone here.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh,
That was actually really
interesting.
hard for me. I actually changed my mind on this sled. I had picked
Okay.
Don't Stop Moving as my like first instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was
changed
listening,
my mind too.
okay.
I flipped
so
the other way.
So as I was listening to both of them though, I was kind of like, okay, which one do I want to listen to again? And it was actually After the Love Is Gone. And it's hard. I think this one was clearly like meant to be a One for Sorrow Part 2, just kind of with the general vibe. That was clearly the brief that was given by the label or by management or however they were doing it at the time. But I think it does differentiate from it enough. Like it's a very delicate verse. And then the chorus is this huge belting moment. The build of it is very dramatic. And the lyrics are actually really beautifully written. And so I think this song has actually grown on me more and more as I've gotten older. And when they finally added it and performed it on the What the Future Holds tour with that kind of like 50s thing going, I loved that version. And that ended up being one of my favorite moments on that tour. So this song has just grown for me. And so it was very hard for me to not pick it, as much as I do love Don't Stop Movin'. But yeah, I think I have a soft spot for After the Love Is Gone.
For me, when I think of After the Love Is Gone, I think of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I think I will always do that. This song for me, maybe because I'm not so I'm still not like really super into all the Steps discography. Like we've done the reviews, but for some reason, this one does not come to my mind. And I don't think it will stay in my brain. It's not a bad song, but it's not as strong as the ones we've discussed prior. And the video was giving me, how can I make this stop? The video was like, I was like, what's going on? I mean, at the time in the 2000s, that whole like, fusion was popular. So I'll let it go. It's not a huge deal. right now. The song is not bad at all, but again, it just doesn't stand out in my mind. I just think that the Earth, Wind, and Fire title is just going to stay there. The melody just sticks in my head. So this one didn't do that for me. With Don't Stop Moving, there's a vocoder talk box moment. Bradley and Joe singing together. Speaking of that friend that was visiting yesterday, she was like, "Oh, the black one sings." I'm like, "Girl, stop." So it's just like it's. Let's fuck it. I was in tears. So I was just like, "Girl, come on." She goes, "No, it actually sounds really good." Okay, yeah. She was getting into it. So I think having both Joe and Bradley sing together, you're thinking about dancing and having a good time in the club, and having that dynamic between the two of them makes it even more entertaining. The song is really fun. It has a disco vibe. And for me, the melody is just stronger for me to like latch onto. And it's a fun video to watch. They just win the round because not just because of nostalgia, because I remember hearing it and being like, "Oh, the damn song is good. I wish I wrote it." And when I do things like that, then I'm like, okay, this is the song. This is a good song. Or like, at least I like the song rather. Maybe it's not a good song, but at least I like it. So, but yeah, so this one, Don't Stop Moving takes it for sure.
Let me just say in defense of the After the Love Is Gone video, as the Asian person here, actually living in Hong Kong, I think this actually helped in their promo. They capitalized on the fact that Lisa is like an eighth Chinese or something, or maybe a quarter.
I think it's her granddad is Chinese. I think that's the relation.
They did utilize that in their promotional materials in Hong Kong, and people actually loved that they were referencing all of this. So no one really took offense at the time. I can see why it'd be very problematic now, but I am not personally offended.
That's valid.
I mean, yeah, I would say I don't think anyone has ever turned around and said, in hindsight, they shouldn't that video is problematic. But I don't think they would make that video quite the same way they did now. Whereas I think if they had their time over, they'd probably do all the other videos, maybe not Heartbeat for other reasons, the same. But I don't think they would do After the Love Is Gone the same.
That's fair.
And I also think just the fact that they made it that sound. Why? It's so random. Why did they pick that sound?
Because it's a direct ABBA reference to. It is basically they try to do a slightly Asian twinged version of "I Have a Dream." It's the musical. It's very similar. That bum 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 bada 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 bada. It's if you listen to them side by side, it is the same brief. And you mentioned One for Sorrow. It was the label going, "Okay, well, you did that with The Winner Takes It All. We'd like you to do an amped up version of I Have a Dream." And they did that with After the Love Is Gone. The thing is that, yes, we can all say, shoulda, woulda, coulda in hindsight in terms of whatever the video. But I don't think they did anything with any sort of bad intentions. And also, it was filmed at Universal Studios. So they filmed it like within like a movie set environment. And it was supposed to be like, for anyone that doesn't know the video, it's like a kind of a Hong Kong thriller. And they're like, I think they definitely utilized this idea of Lisa, with her Chinese grandfather. But my sort of big statement that I will say is After the Love Is Gone is actually the better song. Don't Stop Moving is the better record. In the UK, Don't Stop Moving moved S Club 7 from being like it Never Had a Dream Come True, did really great things for their credibility in terms of having a #1 single that was a big charity song. And then they had quite a substantial break, I believe, Craig, if you look at the dates. And then they came out with Don't Stop Moving to kind of push the third album. And it gave them a level of credibility, and to use the word lightly, of being cool. S Club 7 was suddenly cool to like in a way that Steps hadn't. Chronologically, Craig, had this come after Deeper Shade of Blue? It had, hadn't it?
Yes, it had.
Yes.
But Don't Stop Moving did it in a very... They really were...
A very different way.
like Playground. We were both at school at the time. Suddenly, like you could talk. People liked the cool kids liked S Club 7. Even when Steps did Deeper Shade of Blue, the cool kids didn't like Steps. But people came out and were like, I like S Club 7, and it was not embarrassing.
You were also going to talk about Deeper Shade of Blue was the end of their second album campaign. This was essentially without kind of not including Never Had a Dream Come True, which is on albums 2 and 3. This is the third album. We're going to push this as a massive summer song, and it was just absolutely massive. And it's just a brilliant disco song. This is their most iconic song. I think this is S Club 7's best. I think Reach is up there, but this is their defining song, especially for a UK audience.
And I'll just say the reason I picked it is one of those songs you could almost say I'd never want to hear it again in my life. And there are but I think don't overthink it. Once it comes on, as soon as you hear that robotic "Don't Stop Moving" and it just goes and it just grabs you, and I think that really sets it apart. I would still listen to it, not out of choice, but if it came on, I would enjoy it. Whereas there are other songs where I would just be scrambling to turn it off. Not this one. That's why I picked it.
Okay, makes sense. I mean, like I said, this one I kept going back and forth between the two, so I can be convinced on this one. I will say though, also, Don't Stop Movin' definitely defined like the pop sound for the next couple of years.
Oh my
There were
gosh.
just so many songs that tried to replicate it. Even H and Claire, like DJ, was literally a
Yes.
Don't Stop Movin' copy.
It's the same song.
So yeah,
Yes.
I understand like its impact. So yes, I'll let this one go.
It was tough. That was tough for me. That
Yeah,
was
it's
like
hard.
choosing. That was hard.
It's
Oh,
tough.
okay, well,
It's emotional.
Okay, so round 9, you're going to have to make your cases here because we've
Ooh.
got Say You'll Be Mine versus Have You Ever, and it's a 50-50 split. Which is so two very, very different songs.
Yeah, it's tough.
Who wants to state their case?
Craig, you go.
Well,
'Cause I know
what I
yours
voted for.
is.
Yeah, mine is Say You'll Be Mine. I am unmoved on it. It's my favorite Step song by a country mile. I love it. I adore it. I'm so glad they've started performing it again. It really sounds like Pete Waterman trying to create a Swede pop song. And I love it for that. And I think it does really well. And I love the verses, the middle 8, and there's the breakdown middle 8. They all sing. It's got a video where Lee's got spunk hanging from his ear. It's just, it's like, what is not to love about Say You'll Be Mine? This is, yeah, that's it.
Wow. I was also the Say You'll Be Mine vote, but this is actually another one that I actually switched. I had Have You Ever at first, and then I switched it kind of again, because I think in Steps' discography, Say You'll Be Mine actually has a really great spot. And I think it is kind of in line with what you're saying, Craig, because it's a bit more relaxed. It's not as Euro dance as some of the stuff we've been hearing so far and some of the stuff that they've released later on. But it's not too Swedish in the sense, and like Here and Now, like kind of the buzz stuff's not too Swedish. So it kind of sits in a really nice spot, and the melody's nice. I also love the vocal distribution with, like, it's not just kind of one at a time. It's also, you get duos and you get trios, and you kind of get like a really nice mix of all of that. And yeah, the music video is pretty iconic. Have You Ever is not, but Have You Ever, I agree with you in that it is probably my favorite S Club ballad. I think it is very beautiful, but Say You'll Be Mine is also up there for me in Step's discography.
Okay. Well, for me, I think the video for Say You'll Be Mine is amazing. Like, I haven't seen two of them lampooned in the video, but the scenes are so iconic that I instantly knew. The song, I could be wrong, but for me, I hear like a little ace of bassiness in the terms of like the cadence and the way it's delivered. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's like not a complete copy, but I think whatever was happening in the pop soundscape, it felt a little like this is a trend right now. We're gonna hop on it, which is normal. It happens in pop, but I think it was almost just like, oh, come on, especially coming from the previous single, for me. And I think I didn't know the song well enough for me to actually like latch onto it. I kept listening to it over and over again, watched the video, watched it without the video, and I was like, okay. Have You Ever, on the other hand, I know. S Club's team really managed to get US children to learn their music. And I can admit that the vocal distribution is not as good as Steps, absolutely not. But I'm still very much touched by it. And like Maddie was saying before, I think it is better than Never Had a Dream Come True. I mean, granted, I took a lyric from Never Had a Dream Come True and put it in one of my songs, which also aided in my vote. But with Have You Ever, this one I always listen to and think, oh my God, it's so sad because it's just like, no, I've never had that happen to me. I was like, oh my God, I will never make that mistake. Like this one makes me think. It's pensive and it's mature. So I appreciate it. And like I said, even though the vocal distribution is not as fair, Joe took it home. She did what she had to do with it. I love the mix on it too. It's so smooth. And again, I think because it's R&B tinged, it just feels a little bit more soulful as well. So it also kind of ropes me in. So that's my reason.
Well, S Club were on a home run at this point in the UK charts. Like this was their third UK number one in a run of Never Had a Dream Come True, then Don't Stop Moving, and then this. And it really did cement them with that Sunshine album as the iconic group of the time. Because when this was coming out, correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, in terms of the time frame, but like Steps were at the tail end of their career at this point, whereas S Club were at their peak. And I feel like Have You Ever is such a beautifully constructed song. You could strip away all the production and it's actually really lovely melody. I love the fact that the chorus starts off really sort of slow, but then builds with different lyrics layering on top. I think it's just brilliantly produced. It's their best ballad. And it is always a difficult choice for me to pick an S Club song over a Step song. But I think that Say You'll Be Mine is a very well written song. I don't think it is a brilliantly produced Steps record. And I think there is a reason why they have left it off their live performances for a very long time. The only times recent years that they put it into the Christmas one because it wasn't in the Ultimate Tour. They put it into the summer 2018 shows, Summer of Steps. They put it in 2 verses. That was it. Because it wasn't a part of a dance floor. They finally started adding it in again because I feel like fans do like it. But I think the best version of Say You'll Be Mine, if you want to check it out on all streaming, there's a version called the Matte Pop Remix, which it basically 80s-ifies it. It makes it sound like early Kylie and early Stock Aitken and Waterman in its production. And I kind of sometimes wish that had been like a version that had been released. But yeah, I think Have You Ever is better. Like, so take it to Deadlock.
Yeah,
What is the public vote?
Public vote. Tell us what you think. Okay, well, you just mentioned Stock Aitken and Waterman. Funny that, because round 10, our final one for this episode, is Better the Devil You Know versus You. And 3 people voted for Better the Devil You Know, and 1 person voted for You.
Ooh.
I think that might have been me.
Ooh.
I think I voted for You.
I almost
did. Anyone else? No, I think it was me.
I almost did. No, I almost did.
We could have gone to Deadlock.
Darling,
so close.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. Why'd you pick it?
So the album version, not interested. Put it in the bin. But I love the fact that they did a radio edit and then they did some. They redistributed all the vocals, so you get Rachel Stevens sort of doing lead, but you've got John doing that really theatrical verse, and then you've got Bradley and he does the ad-libs. And I'm just going to say, in the video, he is so hot when he comes out from under the car. Rachel Stevens is literally like, she's practically, her eyes are like on stalks. Like, I think if it hadn't remixed it, I wouldn't like it. But I think the remix really saves it. And I just think Better the Devil You Know. I like it. But Kylie's version, I would always pick Kylie's version. And Kylie's version, when Steps did Better the Devil You Know, Kylie was in this sort of wilderness period, and it made sense for them to cover it. but now I just think their version is completely superfluous. It's just not needed. So yeah, I've gone for you.
Ooh, good
Okay,
points.
okay.
Good
So
points.
good points, but I'd say,
Ooh.
but after a run of 3 songs which really upped S Club's credibility, I think this was a poor man's attempt to recreate Reach. And in a way that didn't fit in the run of singles they'd been doing. Like, I don't know why they didn't pick one of the more disco influenced songs from the album. I really have never understood why this was picked as a single, even though the remix is better. I think it falls a little bit more in the slightly naff pop song bin. I controversially, I disagree with you there, Craig, that I think Steps' version of Better the Devil is superfluous. I would go so far as to say, as a hardcore lifelong Kylie fan, I saw her recently at Hyde Park. This song, I think, is just as iconic for Steps as it is for Kylie. For a certain age group, anyway. I think now, as you've said, Kylie is a legend. For the past 20 years, she's established herself as this sort of legacy artist, and Better the Devil You Know is one of her earlier songs. Whereas at the time, as you say, she was in that deconstruction wilderness era. She was coming out of it, and she was just about to come back with Light Years. And it made so much sense. It made so much sense for them to give them this song. And I do think Steps' version, production-wise, is so different. It's so much more Euro dance, whereas Kylie's version was a direct reference to the early 90s sort of rave culture thing. Her third album, Rhythm of Love, there's all these influences with the hard pianos, whereas Steps is like an explosion of Euro pop. And I love it. I think and it always goes down well live, no matter what.
Okay, so I will just say quickly, but just in defense of S Club 7, I will say this is the point probably in their career where they were fighting against the Miami 7, LA 7, Hollywood 7 pattern, because that defined their first 2 albums until Never Had a Dream Come True. And the reason You was released is because it was the theme tune from Hollywood 7. It was supposed to be released instead of Have You Ever. And so, yes, it is. It came at a point in their career where they were trying to peel away from that formula, but the label and their management, I suspect, was still really intent on making them do that. I accept your points.
Oh, I accept your points.
But I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Bradley in the video. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
The video was great. That retro futurism was great.
Yes.
And Joe being trifling, it was hysterical. Can you imagine sitting there doing your thing and then someone comes and sings a pre-hook and snatches your man, all 3 of them? That's ridiculous, honey. Okay. But yeah, You is cute, but not like super like sugary cute. I mean cute like the way it makes me feel. I gotta find a better word, but it's definitely bright. And it's like a refined version of how they started, which I appreciate. I think with the Kylie Better the W Know, I love the diva house of it all. And I get what you're saying, Maddie, in terms of like, oh yeah, this is really good. But then Seth was able to, give it not a facelift, but put their own face onto it and add extras, just textures. And I think that's what did it for me, because I went back to Kylie's and I was like, I'm going to pick you. Watch me pick you. And then I listened and I was like, you know what? Somebody cooked here. Somebody cooked here. And I was like, dang it, I gotta let Steps have it, because it's one thing to do a cover and then just kind of just copy the whole diva house and follow the trend thing, like I feel with the prior song, Say You'll Be Mine. But then with this one, they did the cover, they made it spectacular, if you will. And I love how now they've been performing it in tandem with Vogue on the tour. So shout out to Steve Anderson again. We had an interview with him. So make sure you guys check out our episode on that on CCTV Pops. I like to do plugs. But yeah, so
It's really good. It's really good.
Exactly. So the song has been able to develop itself and grow. And then even after seeing You live, I was just like, okay, even though I feel for it, even though I'm like, oh my gosh, the video, everything about it just brings me good feelings. I think the growth of Better the Devil You Know from where it came from through the years has been stronger of a growth than you, just for me.
Yeah, I don't have that much to add, honestly, on both of your points. I actually do prefer Steps' version to Kylie's version as well, because I think
Okay.
it actually suits them perfectly. The way they utilize the boys' voices to do kind of the vocoder kind of woes and the backing vocals and stuff, I think all three girls sound great. It's kind of right in kind of the perfect kind of part of their voices for all three. And I feel like the chorus just sounds, I don't know. It's kind of more joyful in a way. I think Kylie's was a little more playful. Um, Steps is just kind of more joyful, and I love that. I think You is fine. I think when you listen to S Club's discography, it kind of just blends in with the other kind of Motown-y songs. It doesn't really stand out on its own that much. I do think it's maybe their best music video, but as a song, it's not my fave. So yeah, I gave it to Better the Devil for this one.
Oof.
It's still my pop music wish, and I think it's their wish as well, that one day Steps and Kylie will perform this together.
Oh, that'd be
They've
fun.
said, because they've been asked in multiple interviews, they were like, if you could duet with anyone else, who would it be? And they kind of don't really ever say anyone. They're like, because we're a group, we don't need to do a duet. And then Claire said, but if there was an anniversary performance in which that one day we could perform Better the Devil You Know, like maybe 30th anniversary tour, maybe there'll be a one-off performance, I don't know. Because I just feel like, God, the gays would combust. Like, I don't actually think I don't think I'd still be here. I think it would be like, good night, sayonara, goodbye.
Hasn't Kylie like shaded them though? Hasn't Kylie been like, I don't like their version? Or she said something like shady about it, like back in the day,
Yeah,
didn't
she
she?
did. She did. Yeah.
I think
I
back in
mean-
the day,
Yeah, I think they asked her. I think it was an interview on SMTV or CD UK. They basically sat down, they plonked down and said, "Have you seen Stats' version of your song?" And she was just like, "Well, it's good that a new generation of fans are hearing it." And that was it. That was basically it.
You know what? I don't blame her because I like the Diva House version. I do think Steps elevated it for them, but I do prefer Kylie's version. Just saying. So Kylie,
I prefer Kylie's version. Like, Kylie's version is fantastic. Like,
yeah,
as I say, you know, as a lead single off Rhythm of Love, which is
yeah,
from her original like 4 albums, that's the one. That's the one that is the iconic moving into the 90s sort of vibe. But
yeah.
I don't think Kylie would shade them. Like, she's far too nice for that. That was definitely a product of like that late 90s, early 2000s journalism of like pushing someone to be just like, what do you think of this song? And also, she was in a weird era. She was in a weird
valid.
era at that time where she wasn't really very positive in her reflection of her early pop music. It took her to sort of like come back to it. Yeah. Right. What are the scores, Craig?
Yeah.
Okay, right. I have been keeping tally somewhere. So we currently now, other than our deadlocks, we currently have 4-3 to Steps.
There you
Is that
go.
right? I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had one deadlock this episode. So
We're gonna need to take it to the public vote. The polls will be on
Take
our
it-
socials.
take it to
Come
the
vote.
Yes,
So-
if you have made it this far, be sure to drop your comments. Let us know what songs take these rounds for you, and be nice, be civil, or not. Either way, engage in the conversation. We'll be there
Or not.
watching you all. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very or not, you know. But yes, this has been round 6 through 10 of our epic pop off between Steps and S Club Collective. Let's just say that.
There you go. S Club Collective.
S Club Collective. What's the maths of them together? It's like S Club
So, yes.
15 or something.
Definitely stay tuned to both of our shows because parts 3 and 4 are coming, and we will now be adding S Club Juniors into the mix as well once S Club 7 runs out of singles.
Ooh.
So stay tuned. But yes, in the meantime, thank you, Maddie and Craig, we're so excited that we were able to
Thank
do this
you.
with you.
Thank
You're
you
so
so much for
welcome.
inviting us.
Yes. Do you want to plug yourself one more time for our listeners and viewers?
Plug,
You go first, Craig. Go on.
Okay, let me go through all my little socials. Okay, so you can follow Can't Stop the Pop on social media. So I am at Can't Stop Pop on X and Can't Stop _the Pop on Instagram and TikTok because we love consistency. We also have a YouTube channel which is at Can't Stop the Pop.
We are also on TikTok on Can't Stop the Pop podcast, where essentially we have one TikTok in which that we discuss things in our podcast format and we talk about random different songs. And then we also have the Can't Stop _the Pop TikTok, which is about the website and different reviews and different sort of like nostalgic things that we've got there. So it's the whole brand
Lots of
is all
Sabrina
up on there.
Lots of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. If you're into Sabrina the Teenage Witch, there's lots of Sabrina the Teenage Witch on there. Just saying.
Go ahead. Go
Amazing.
off.
There we go.
All right. We are also, of course, available on all podcast platforms. And make sure to check us out. Leave a comment. DM us as well at CCTV Pops to tell us your thoughts on all these pop-offs. And you can join us on patreon.com and subscribe and follow us because we have some really fun episodes and more guests coming on to the show. Until next time, that's Chris.
That's Chantel with Craig and Maddie.
And we're signing off from CCTV, the Non-Stop Pop Show.